Danny watches a lot of television and movies. John does not. Listen in as she tells him about what she's watching, and he tries to make sense of it all. Welcome to Watching My Stories with Dhani and John.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
What are we doing? We've had a lot of technical issues. My mic keeps going in and out.
Yeah.
So, I'm Danny.
And I'm John.
Welcome to Watching My Stories.
Hi.
We're back. Took off a couple weeks or maybe 3 weeks. I lost track. But I didn't have a lot to talk about 1 week. But now I have a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get through it. And then we're going to talk about Emma Thompson in the Actors Corner.
Sounds good. Love Emma Thompson.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Everybody does.
I hope so.
I think so.
Yeah. So actually the first movie I'm going to talk about is her latest movie, Late Night.
Yes.
That Mindy Kaling wrote and directed.
Is it a movie or a series?
It's a movie.
Oh, is it a Netflix movie?
No, it was out in theaters. It's an Amazon movie. Now it's on Amazon.
Sorry, Amazon. I didn't realize it was out in theaters.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's on Amazon Prime, so everyone can watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, please tell us your story. Sorry.
So, so the story is Emma Thompson plays a late night talk show host who has been on her show, I want to say it was like 25 years or something. And it's just gotten really stale. AKA she's gotten really stale. AKA, that was dumb. Sorry. AKA
Billy.
Vis-a-vis. And so number one, all of her writers are guys and really white guys, and she doesn't know any of them. Like, she stopped paying attention to her staff and all that sort of stuff. And she used to be some great comedian, because it opens with her receiving some wonderful comedy award, like Lifetime Achievement or whatever. But anyway, they decide, hey, maybe she should hire a woman. Mindy Kaling comes in. She has no experience for writing, no experience for comedy. She works at like a chemical plant, but it's always been her dream. She studies comedy. She loves it. She loves Emma Thompson's character, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And kind of by diversity hire, she gets it. And so of course the other guys aren't thrilled, but at the same time, Emma Thompson's character is given notice that they're stopping the show. She has this year basically, and then they're going to take it away from her and give it to someone young and probably a white guy. And over time it comes out that it's Ike Barinholtz plays this really just douchey comedian, and she finds out that that's who they're going to give the show to.
I can picture that.
Yeah. So anyway, so this kind of lights a fire under Emma Thompson's character, and she decides, okay, I got to meet with the writers and let's get this thing back on track. Like her husband says, it's been stale, it hasn't been good, that sort of thing, but I thought you were okay with it. And she really just didn't even notice that she was pandering to the audience, that she was, not really speaking her mind, just kind of,
she was coasting.
Yeah. So Mindy comes in and really wakes things up with trying to get her back to that comedy that Mindy had loved, growing up and all that sort of stuff. And so it really changes. So over the year we see the show change and her getting her groove back type thing. And that's kind of it. You kind of see, is she going to be able to keep the show? Has the network given up on her still, and all that sort of stuff, and the conflict between the writers accepting a woman, like Mindy walks into the women's bathroom and there's a guy in there, just dropped the kids off at the pool, and he's like, yeah, well, no one uses this bathroom, so we come in here, to lay some pipe. So, it's like
I don't think that's what you meant, but I get it.
Isn't that the phrase?
No.
Oh.
No,
that's a different thing?
That's a different thing.
There's something like that I just saw on a TV show.
Let's not get sidetracked on that.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. Anyway, so there's that sort of thing, where it's very interesting to see these guys really have to deal with, like they even say, like, she comes up with a joke about menopause for Emma Thompson to say. And the guys are like, do people really want to hear about women's issues? You know, do people really want to hear about that sort of thing? You know, and it's just like, oh my God, dudes, you know, it's that sort of, you know, it's really, you can tell Mindy wrote this. You can tell that it's, you know, and she worked at Conan O'Brien's show. So she also knows this world. And, so anyway, my overall thought is it was good. I kept watching it and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of Emma Thompson's character and her performance. She looks gorgeous in it. I enjoyed Mindy's character a lot. It was just, by the end of it, I was kind of like, okay, well, sorry. I was kind of thinking, what did I learn that I didn't already know? But maybe that's my perspective as a woman. But I was also kind of, it felt like a very letdown ending.
Okay.
So I enjoyed it. I'd probably watch it again if you wanted to watch it, but I'm not sure I will be going back and watching it over and over again for a bunch of things. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a lot of jokes in there and things, but there were little Mindy things you could tell were her. Like she repeats this line from a poem or something that has to do with like your dreams and whatever. And so before she walks into the interview, she says this line to herself and then like immediately gets hit with like trash on the street or something. That's so her. Like again, if you watch Mindy Project and all of, you know, her humor and you can see it in this, which I love and I'm a huge fan. So no problem with that. But yeah, it's not like on my list for Emma Thompson later on. Like this didn't make one of the cuts yet, but you know, we'll see with time. I mean, she's really great in it. And it's a very, I'd like to hear a male's opinion of it because it's very relatable for all women, for sure, of any age, of someone starting out on a career or has dreams and wants to do something, especially getting into a comedy field that is male driven or more male oriented. And then Emma Thompson at that stage of life where it's like, you know, you're not really wanting to give up, but people are pushing you out, you know, that sort of thing. So it's very relatable.
Sure.
Anyway, so that's Late Night. It's on Amazon Prime Video now, so you can check it out.
Yeah, I will watch it because I'm a big fan of Emma Thompson. And I'll give you the male's perspective.
Love Mindy.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And Ike Barinholtz, to be fair. So it sounds like everybody in it I like. So
yeah,
I'll definitely watch it and give you the male perspective. Although it is slanted towards, you know, I'm on your side. So I'm not like you know, one of those guys that's gonna watch it and be, you know. Yeah.
And the other male writers, you know, there's a lot of them that you know, and the Hugh Dancy's in it. He's one of the writers, and Reed Scott, the kid from Veep.
Oh yeah.
So you know everyone that's in the movie. It's great. So yeah, check it out.
I will.
Okay, next movie you'll talk about more.
I will.
We watched Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you watched. I was on my phone.
I don't know what you were doing during it, but you weren't watching it as much as I was.
I would have shut it off pretty early on, but here's the thing. I'm just gonna give my 2 cents real quick. I would have turned it off probably at the 20-minute mark, because in those first 20 minutes they're trying to establish a story, and the dialogue is so bad that and even when it's people that I love, Vera Farmiga and Bradley Whitford, and people I love just trying to deliver the heck out of these horrible lines. What I do like about these movies, the first one and now this one, I love this Godzilla, and I love the do like waiting for him to just power up and then let go. And it was, you know, so the battle scenes in this and when he's getting beaten, which is just really, really sad. I didn't like any of that. But so I love that little tidbit, and I kind of love the mythology of the whole thing.
Right.
But why can't they just try and give us good dialogue? Like, it feels like they're doing it on purpose or something. Because even the first one felt that way. Like, I was not into it until the end in the battle scene. So, you know.
Okay, so I can talk about this because I go way back with Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like, to my childhood.
Ride or die.
Like, yeah. Yeah. Godzilla's my boy. Yeah, so grade school. I remember distinctly grade school. Right, coming home after school, and they would always have an after-school movie on. or a couple of them, and the monster movies were constant rotation. Really? So we got to see Godzilla movies that. Like on a pretty regular basis. The original from Japan. So they've historically been not good movies. Right. If you're looking at it,
we're remaking it, so you would think they would make it.
I understand what you're saying, but I think that's asking something. It's asking too much.
So you're trying to say that they're sticking with the original feel of the original movies. Like, let's make it feel like a B movie.
No,
even though we're costing hundreds of millions.
No, what I'm saying is if you're going into it, or if you're disappointed by the bad dialogue, then a monster movie's not for you.
Okay.
And I'm not saying they tried to do this intentionally.
Right.
I think it's accidental because you have some good people in it. You have good people making it.
Yeah.
It's just, if that's what you're hung up on, then monster movies probably aren't for you because they've historically been that way. Now, it would be nice if they did a better job with these on an actual, full movie experience basis. But the fact that the dialogue was bad it bothered me, I guess, a little bit more than so to be fair, it bothered me a little bit more than I thought it would because I was a little bit disappointed by this one. But I have always watched these monster movies because of just the sheer scale and the epicness of something 400 feet tall battling something else 400 feet tall, and just, the poor little, ant humans just around trying to stay out of the way and whatever. It's always been fascinating to me. So that's what I get out of it.
Okay. So what did you think of the story, that the whole mythology they've put in place with these monsters?
As far as the storyline goes, I think they way overshot on this. They didn't need to complicate it and make it so...
I didn't think it was complicated.
No, they made way too big a story out of it. They went back in history and all this stuff and brought out, a dozen or 18 monsters and that sort of thing. And okay, that's fine, but you're done because now where do you go from here?
Now the next one is Kong. Because Kong didn't show up in the fight.
This is true. We know they're doing another one. Right. We know it's going to be Kong because there have been
Kong versus Godzilla.
There have been enough Easter eggs in these things that you know who it's going to be.
Well, no, I looked it up. It is the next one.
There were clues in this movie if you had been paying attention.
Well, yeah, and I never saw Kong Skull Island, so I don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I just know that King Kong exists, so I think that'll be a fun thing to watch again if I can mute it.
Yeah. The
world's going to be destroyed now. I mean, I don't understand where you go from here.
That's part of it. What's left for us to start with on the next one. So what I would have done if if the studio had charged me with doing these movies, I would have done another one or two of them. If you must know. I would have done one or two more, like Godzilla versus somebody else. Like Godzilla wakes up from San Francisco, he's got a headache, he goes off, and then something else shows up, and he has to come back and battle that. That's kind of how the classics went. And then towards the end of those, they brought a bunch of them. It was like this, battle royale of a bunch of different monsters, and after that, they were jammed, and they kind of fell off after that. So
I have to ask about Mothra, though.
Yeah.
Because that's the only one I've ever actually heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck was that? So is Mothra just supposed to be like this nice monster?
Yeah.
So it was a friend of Godzilla's?
It's a friend of humanity. And Godzilla is not against humanity. I think he's trying to do his best to stay out of the way of humanity. But we keep, shooting at them. So to their credit, the director and the people who wrote this movie kind of made it about Godzilla, about the balance between the monsters.
Okay, so
the people who made this movie tried to accentuate the overall theme of there being balance between good and evil. In this case, Godzilla is good, right? He's trying to fight the battle that humans can't. But
humans woke them up, so,
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess I don't really. I mean, it's not worth trying to dive deep into.
Well, this is the thing about monster movies. If you try to figure too much out, you're going to be disappointed because it's very superficial.
Yeah.
Yeah. These movies are designed to be looked at.
Okay, so you like the first one. You watch it quite often.
I did. I did.
You still do. So this one you didn't like as much as that first one.
I did not like as much as that first one.
And by first one I mean the one that came out like 3 or 4
Bryan
years
Cranston.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I like Bryan Cranston, and I really like the guy who played his son. And there was enough about that person and his relationship with his wife in that first one.
Right. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Who played brother and sister in the Avengers. So that always was weird to me. But
anyway.
anyway.
That was that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, that creeps me out a little bit.
It's weird. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
It's one of those things that once you see it, you can't go back. Yeah. Anyway, so there was enough of that. And in this one, there were no humans to get invested in. There were no people that you wanted to not ever be killed.
Right. Like I thought Vera Farmiga and Millie Bobby Brown, I thought they were going to be the ones, and it turned out she was mean. And so, I think we were supposed to care about the girl, but I don't even remember who played the dad. Who played the dad? I blocked it all out.
That was, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't
Give me a second. Vamp for a second here. I'll think
vamping.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's for me, someone who doesn't know.
It's what's his face from Friday Night Lights.
Oh yeah, that's why I blocked
Child
it out.
Chandler.
Kyle Chandler. Wow. We should not have a podcast. We could not speak.
Oh, we're so sorry, everybody.
Anyway, my thoughts are, for someone who is peripheral on this monster thing or whatever, if you can get past the dialogue, the fight scenes, the CGI, that sort of thing is fun and cool. But that's it for me.
The epicness is there. I mean, it's a bit, these things, just visually watching all this stuff go on that is on just a huge scale. That's it for me.
Even though it's fake. But yeah, it's great.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's better than watching a guy in a monster suit from the 50s walk around a scale city and they shot it. They shot it in slow-mo.
I don't know. That sounds pretty fun.
Well, it was good, but there were obvious parts of it were like, yeah, come on, guys. Because they shot it in slow motion to make it look epic and big, but like this.
Yeah, people can see exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. Probably ended up looking more like Chris Farley than a guy in a...
Yes.
Well, he's kind of a guy in a monster suit. But...
Okay. That's that.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So
spent way too much time
it's on pay-per-view if you want to pay money. Otherwise, I'd wait till it comes
I would wait till it comes out on the movie channels. And this is one of those, it'll eventually, a year from now, it'll be on TNT or...
Yeah. And you'll watch it. I know you.
I will, because it's epic.
Epic is a good thing.
This is a good thing. If you like monster movies.
Okay. Moving on?
Probably a good idea.
Okay. Next movie I watched is a Netflix movie called Falling in Love. INN. Why? Because she wins an inn in New Zealand. So this is a little cute, quirky rom-com. Christina Milian stars in it, and this guy, Adam Demos, something like that. He was on, and now I'm blanking on the show. That show was Sherry Appleby and the behind the scenes of The Bachelor.
Sorry, Studio Dogs.
Anyway, he was on that, and he was really hot on that, and now he's on this movie, which was great. So anyway, Christina Milian, she's like in San Francisco and a power woman, like working hard, and she gets fired, and in a drunken state, she enters a contest to win an inn in New Zealand, and she wins. And so she shows up in this little town in New Zealand, and the inn is dilapidated and just a mess. So she now has to figure out what to do, and that's it. And he plays this guy who happens to be like a contractor in the town, and at first they butt heads, and then they partner up, and then they fall in love. But here's the thing. It was a very cute movie. She's adorable. She's not great, but she's adorable. And the thing that makes this movie is that it's set in New Zealand. And so, all these Kiwis are so cute, and their little sayings, and their, how they have, they call everything these cute little things.
Sure.
So that makes it just a lot of fun. And it's really more, it feels more like a almost tourist advertisement for New Zealand, but not really. But that makes it really fun. If this were set just like in New England that we've seen a million times or something like that, it would not have been as endearing and cute.
It does a good job of romanticizing New Zealand.
It does.
Yeah,
it just all the people are like little quirky people, and so all these people in the town that she meets, and they all take her in and under her wing, and so it's very sweet. And then, of course, she has to decide, is she going to go back to the States and live a life, or is she going to stay here? And, so it's a typical rom-com. It's a very, very, very light rom-com. But whatever, for me, I think it was a weekend, and it's worth it if you like that sort of movie, and it's just fun and frivolous. And honestly, you don't have to think about anything.
Was there much tension in it?
Not a lot. There is some, of course. You have to have some. But
it's right up my alley.
Not a lot. Yeah.
I'll watch
it. It's fun. So I'd rewatch it again with you for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's called Falling in Love. In is INN. And it's on Netflix.
That's funny.
So you can watch it now.
Okay.
Yeah. The next thing I watched was a documentary on Hulu called Untouchable. Documentary about Harvey Weinstein.
Oh man.
It's not a fun thing to watch, but it was a really good documentary in that there were a lot of victims that were on here. So they all told their stories.
Okay.
And there were a lot of people who worked with Harvey during these times who either found out it was going on and quit their jobs, or found out it was going on and continued to work with him and now have regrets, but too little too late for them, as far as I'm concerned. But people who just were around at the time and heard rumors, all that sort of stuff. So it kind of takes different angles. But listening to these women and their stories is, we've all heard them by now, but to really see them and, how they've dealt with it, what it did to them, all of that. It's an important thing in my opinion, because I think people have forgotten. I feel like Me Too now sometimes is a punchline these days because, because it has become that. It's not taken as seriously anymore as it once was, and he still is out there. So,
I don't know. I'm not sure I would say it's not taken as seriously as it used to be.
But it is. I have seen it as a punchline on a lot of things now.
I have. So anything that comes along, any movement, any effort, societal effort that comes along, at some point, before too long, it does. You do see comedians making jokes about it, and it does become kind of a punchline. I think what it's suffering from is it was right there in everybody's face for a period of time, and now it's kind of drifted to the background again. It's not in the forefront. So it's obviously still as important as ever. It's just it's not getting a lot of play right now because, his trial is I'm not sure what's going on with his trial, but if his trial was like going on and they were getting those shots of him coming out of the courthouse every day or whatever, then it would be back in the forefront. Everybody would be like, "Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, that's right."
Right.
And there's not a lot going on because not a lot of guys have been busted lately.
Right. I think that's the key is, it's we're not hearing about people, and some people have been forgiven and some people have been let off, and so it's I just think it's important, especially for women, to watch this because to hear all the women and their different reactions, and you never know how you're going to react in a situation, and to know that whatever it is that happens, again, it's not your fault, and and power plays into things. And I think, I'd like to hear what a man would think of this, because power can wield itself in different ways. And, you don't have to be of his stature in order to have it. And anyway, it's on Hulu. It's well done. It's a quick watch. Like, it really went by fast for me. Honestly, I don't remember if it's an hour and a half or what, but it had me pulled in enough that it went by really quickly. That's it. It's really just it's more about reminding people who he was, what he did, and let these victims tell their stories.
Yeah, at this point, I would almost look at this, like you said, everybody knows the story. Everybody knows all about Harvey Weinstein now. If something like this comes out, I would almost look at it as, okay, as people, as other members of society, we should take the hour and a half, whatever it is, to give these, to do our part in listening to these people tell their story.
Right.
There's, for a lot of us, right, I'm a guy, and if you want to make sides between men and women, I obviously am on that side, but I am so on the side of women that I don't know that I get much out of it. There's nothing that I would get out of it that I haven't already felt just by paying attention to these stories as they came out, a year ago.
See, that's where I don't agree. I think you should be made to sit and listen to these women, because I think you know, and when you hear a story or maybe you read a story, you think you get it, but until you're looking at their faces and really, really listening to them and seeing them, I don't think you can get it. Okay. And I know you like to avoid those sorts of things. So I get what you're saying, but I do think people need to hear them tell their own stories, no matter what side you think you're on.
Okay.
And also, what's his face? Pharaoh. He's on there talking about how he uncovered
mm-hmm.
the story and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more to it than just listening to them. It's really well cut together with all these different aspects.
So here's what I'll do. I guess what I was trying to say is I will be surprised if I think or feel anything other than I've already thought and felt.
Right.
So what I will do is I'll watch it as a service to society, and I will give you my honest impression. And if I come back and say, you know what, I thought I knew or thought the right thoughts about all of this and felt the right things, you've got to watch it because it's way different or whatever. I'll give you an honest. I'll give you an honest review.
It's one of those things where you might not have different feelings about it, but I think it's important for everyone to, it's like Hannah Gadsby's stand up.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't come out of that going, oh my God, I had no idea it was so bad for lesbian women or women who dress that way, or, whatever the case is. It's so much more impactful when you hear someone tell their story.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
I now see what you're saying.
It's not going to change your mind. I would hope, but there could be some people out there where it does change their mind. There might be some people out there going, "Oh, it's Harvey Weinstein. Like, what did he? Who cares?"
Don't fool yourself.
Yeah, there's people out there.
There are a lot of guys in this world that would watch it and go, "Wow, I had no idea."
Right, for sure.
Even though they've been watching the news for the last 3 years or whatever,
right.
They would go, "Wow, I had no idea." Or some guys, idiots, dumbasses, would look at it and go, "Yeah, what's the big deal?"
Exactly.
Sorry, didn't mean to choke you out.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's not for people who already think they know where they stand. Great, but it's still important to hear people's stories from their mouths whenever they want to tell them. That's my part of my thing is if someone's brave enough to come out and talk about it, then they should be heard. But it might not change your mind, but it could enhance how you already feel, or it's always good to also put a face to what you're angry at, sure. That sort of thing. So that's all I'm getting at. I just think it's a good thing. I'm glad it's out there. I'm surprised it's out there, but that shows how little power he has anymore, because honestly they talk about that. There was an incident where he went off on a reporter in a party, and hundreds of people around, and he started beating the crap out of him. And there were tons of cameras out. Like the woman who was with the reporter, she's like, everyone had their cameras out and was taking pictures. And she said, I've never seen a picture of that night ever. And, it was like 20 years ago. And that's how much power he has, is that he was able to take everyone's pictures or whatever from that night and make sure they never made the light of day. So, the fact that now we can put a documentary out about him, and all these people can come out and speak their truth. He's nothing. So it's really nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
We'll leave it at that. That story just infuriated me all over again. So that's
okay. Moving on. That's on Hulu, by the way. It's called Untouchable.
Okay.
Okay. Next show I watched was 13 Reasons Why on Netflix. This was the third season. I'm going to go quick about this because I didn't like the season. So 13 Reasons Why, if you haven't watched it, the first season is fantastic. I think everyone should go watch the first season. I think your kids should when they get to an age where they understand bullying and date rape and things that happen in high school to normal kids. It tells the story of Hannah, who we find out in the very beginning had killed herself, and she recorded these 13 tapes explaining why. And they all had to do with people that she went to school with. Maybe they just ignored her. Maybe she thought she liked him and he didn't like her back. She did get raped. She got, embarrassed. Like all these little things that stacked up to where she just couldn't take it anymore. Mm-hmm. First season, fantastic. It's presented in this very mystery way. You're following along and listening to these recordings, and you're just like, why did she kill herself? You're waiting and waiting and waiting. It's fantastic the way they did it. Second season, they tried to the guy who did rape Hannah, they tried to get him, they charge him, and it was a very boring season. It was kind of pointless. It didn't have that heart in it and all of that sort of thing. So the second season I was not happy with. So this third season, that guy who raped her ends up dead, and the whole point is who killed him. And all these kids that were involved in all of this stuff all along all have reasons to kill him. So again, it was a very mystery or feeling to this season, and I kept watching because I really did want to know who ended up killing him. But it was a very long, tedious season. It was 13 episodes. It was too much. It was too boring and really dark in a way that didn't have the hope and everything that the first season had. And I'm tired of these kids. And honestly, these kids, I mean, the crap that they've gone through. I mean, at the end of the second season, this kid showed up with long guns and everything to a school dance. He was going to do a mass shooting in his school. And these other kids stopped him. And then this whole third season, they're having to take care of him, and they're like trying to get him better and all this stuff. Like, there's some really good parts of this where you really see good kids doing good things. And the main guy in this is a good person, and it's almost to his detriment. Like, he's always wanting to do the right thing. But there was something with this season I just was not enjoying, and I didn't like. And it was a little too, like, the first season I held up because it felt real. Any of that stuff could have happened to a group of kids in high school. Any of it could have happened. Now this felt more sensationalized, and like they were soap operaing it. And and I could be wrong, because again, I'm a little removed from high school, but it just felt like it was too much and they were trying too hard.
Yeah, that's what happens.
They should have ended it after the first season.
Well, yes, I think this is the takeaway, is that you may catch lightning in a bottle and have a show that's worth more than one season. But for the most part, nowadays, these shows, one season is good.
Yeah, leave it alone.
Yeah, just do it, have a good run, and be done, and move on to your next project.
Right. Big Little Lies talking to you.
Because a lot of times when they do a second or even a third,
right,
it goes so far, it's so far away, removed from what it started out and the point of it. And they have to just keep outdoing themselves.
Right.
And you get to a crazy point where there's this one high school where all these, so much happens to them. It's unrealistic. It would never happen in real life.
I don't want to say never, because I honestly don't know. I mean, I think kids are dealing with a lot of stuff, but all of this happening to one group of kids, it's like the Grey's Anatomy of it all. They've been in a plane crash, they've been in a mass shooting, they've been in all sorts of stuff, and it's just like in one hospital. That sucks.
That's exactly my point.
So I just I think it's definitely worth watching the first season. Leave it at that. But I haven't heard if they're going to attempt to do a fourth. And if they do, I will watch it, because that's who I am. But I just, I'm going to just say, watch the first season of 13 Reasons Why, and leave it at that. It's on Netflix, and we're all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next show I'm going to talk about is 4 Weddings and a Funeral on Hulu. So Mindy Kaling, again, she produced this. She decided to adapt a show from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not a remake. It is a completely different concept, different characters, all that sort of thing. It just happens to be named that, and it is a rom-com type feel to it. We did have 4 weddings and a funeral throughout the 10 episodes. But the star is Natalie Emmanuel. She was in the last couple of Fast and Furious movies. She's fantastic. Love her. I will watch anything she's in. I just really love her.
Okay.
But here's the thing. So the premise is that there are 4 college friends. They were all best friends. 3 of them immediately after college moved to London to live, and 1 stayed back in the States. Early on, she ends up coming to London as well, and they all end up living there, and so that's how we're in London. And it's all about their love lives. One who is with someone and eventually getting with one. Another guy, he's struggling, but he does find his love. One chick, she's engaged in the beginning, and at the altar, he changes his mind and says no. And then our main person, she's at first dating a married man, and then when she moves to London, it's kind of to escape him and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. The main string of the whole 10 episodes is that our main person, and now I think it's Mia, but when she gets off the plane, she's coming to meet her best friends, her best friend for her wedding. And she hasn't met her fiance at all. And so she gets off the plane and immediately runs into this guy named Cash.
Okay.
There's Maya. So Natalie Emmanuel plays Maya. She is coming to her best friend Ainsley's wedding. When Maya gets off the plane, she meets Cash, and they immediately have a spark. And she ends up spending time at the airport with him because they just get into like a really deep conversation about what are their dreams, what are their hopes in life, that sort of thing with like this stranger, right?
Uh-huh.
Wonderful thing. She gets to Ainsley's house, the engagement party, whatever starts, and turns out Cash is Ainsley's fiance.
Yep.
It's fine. She's like, okay, whatever, sucks, that sort of thing. But then he ends up calling off the wedding at the altar. And not for her, but because he realizes, like, he works at Goldman Sachs, and he realizes he wants to be an actor, which came out when him and Maya were having this conversation at the airport, talking about their true hopes and dreams. And he knew Ainsley would never be willing to give up all the money he makes and all that sort of stuff. So the whole underlying thing after that is the fact that Maya is in love with Cash, and, they keep running into each other. They keep having those moments. They keep doing that sort of thing until finally they decide, let's give this a shot, but we're not going to tell anyone. Here's my problem. It's really like things always happen in rom-coms, right? Like it's always about, oh, he's with the wrong person. We want him to cheat on her to go be with him. We always are wanting these people to do really bad things somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason in this show, I had a really hard time the whole time accepting one woman doing this to her best friend. I just did. It was against girl code, whatever you want to say. I had a really bad time with it. I never wanted them together. And normally during these sorts of things, you're always rooting for them. And I did not want them together. I did not, it felt wrong the whole time. Like I couldn't get it past my head I just kept going, what are you doing? It was just not okay.
Interesting, because isn't one of your favorite movies that you watch all the time when it's on?
Yes.
I don't even know what the movie's called, but the one with Kate Hudson and
yes,
yeah. So
and Jennifer Goodwin. Yes,
yeah,
I know.
You don't have a problem with that one?
I don't.
Okay,
I know, and trust
okay.
me, I thought of that because what's the movie? What is that movie?
I don't even know. I don't know, but and what's his name?
Jennifer Goodwin and Colin Egglesworth and Kate Hudson, and yeah. Kate Hudson and him, they're engaged, and he cheats on her with her best friend. I know. I think part of it is that's a 2-hour movie, and maybe it's a lot easier to get into, where 10 episodes, I'm watching 10 hours of like that sort of thing. Maybe it was a little too real, too longer for me to think about it. I don't know, but it was really tough. And even by the end, when the normal ending you want to happen for a rom-com, all 4 of these people end up happy. That's what you want. But it's like, it was still a little tough for me to think about it. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Interesting.
It was like I kept checking myself. Like, why am I having a problem with this when I know there are many other instances in movies where I don't have a problem with that situation. So I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm not picking on you. It's interesting how we, how things strike us, and some movies we're perfectly okay with, and some movies we're like, nope, got a real problem with it.
And it could also have a lot to do with the actors involved.
Sure.
It might be that I felt a bigger connection between these two actresses, Maya and Ainsley, felt much more like friends, where honestly, in that movie that I can't think of, Jennifer Goodwin and Kate Hudson, I don't understand their friendship. I don't think they ever should have been friends. Yeah. So that also could be part of it.
And Kate Hudson in that,
she's horrible.
She's not a nice person.
Right.
So it's really easy to say good for,
like screw you. I know. So I think that could be part of it.
Yeah, it's probably part
Where
of it.
in here, Ainsley was not a mean person. She did not deserve that sort of thing. So that could also, there's an answer. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, 4 Weddings and a Funeral on Hulu. It's not like wonderful, but I did enjoy it every week. It wasn't like I wasted an hour every week. It was fine. So now all 10 episodes are on 4 Weddings and a Funeral, or on Hulu. If you like rom-coms, there are some Easter eggs in here. There are little pieces that we've seen from Love Actually. There are pieces from 4 Weddings. There are things that she's pulled from little rom-coms, little bits, which is kind of fun too. So it's fun. You've got time, like no big deal. Watch it. That's kind of the attitude of it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Still got more. Next thing I'm going to talk about is Queen Sugar. Season 4 just ended. It has been renewed for season 5. Thank God. If you haven't listened before, Queen Sugar is my favorite television show on television. That is second to Handmaid's Tale, which is streaming. So Queen Sugar to me is the best show on television, and it doesn't seem to be lacking in anything. So this 4th season, we went through a lot. I mean, a lot, and it was it tore my heart out. Like it was a lot, and luckily they brought it back by the end, so where I didn't feel so devastated.
Wow.
But it was quite a few episodes and weeks of feeling devastated, and is this ever going to turn around?
Wow.
But so Queen Sugar, if you don't know, it follows a family down in Louisiana that has a sugarcane farm, and all the different members of the family, and that's pretty much what it's about. It is about this family and their interactions with each other, their interactions with other people in the town, and that's a big part of this is the horrible kind of old money in Getting and what they can do, those white people, what they think they can do, and that sort of thing. There's a lot of turmoil with that, but we're getting on them. So it's really hard to really talk about, and I know I have on here before, but that's all you need to know. It is about a family that is so relatable, that all of us have these people in our families. We know people like this, and we love them so much that it is, it just brings me absolute joy, even when I'm being heartbroken because of what they do, because their family is so strong. It's just insane.
That's a good show if it can entertain you while devastating you.
For sure. And I've talked about it many times. It's the most beautiful show. It's stunning to just look at. And everyone's performances are top notch. I hate that they are not getting recognized the way they should, because these people are killing it every single episode. And the writing is amazing. Some of the words are just some of the best words and lines ever. I just can't. So it's on OWN. You can go and watch the first 4 seasons now. The 5th season won't be coming out till next year, so you have plenty of time to catch up. Please, please, please. It is the best show in a long time. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. Okay. Another show I just finished this morning.
Wow.
It came on, started on Netflix yesterday, called Unbelievable. There are 8 episodes. This is based on an article written for This American Life. And it is a true story. So the star of it is Caitlin Dever. I've talked about her. She was in Booksmart. She's fantastic in that. And I think she was on a sitcom. I think that Tim Allen sitcom, but don't quote me on that. She's fantastic in this. Amazing in this, actually. Yeah, amazing in this. And then also it stars Toni Collette, who one of my top 5. And Merritt Weaver, who is also just amazing in everything she does and makes me cry in this more than anyone else. Anyway, this is a true story of a serial rapist that was happening in Colorado. Merritt Weaver and Toni Collette play the detectives who figured out that it was a serial rapist happening across different counties in Colorado, and their investigation to find this person. Caitlin Dever plays this girl, Marie, who was raped 3 years prior. So we're flipping times back and forth. We're watching her go through her thing 3 years before these detectives discover what's happening. When Marie got raped, she called the cops immediately, told them everything, and they did not believe her. And Marie was an 18-year-old at-risk youth living in an at-risk apartment building. She had been in foster homes all her life, and the cops chose not to believe her. And they bullied her into saying that she had lied and that it never happened. And she did, because she was an 18-year-old sitting there by herself who had often been told what to do with her life. And then they charged her with false reporting, and then her name was released to the press, and she lost her job, and she lost her apartment, and she lost everyone that was in her life. And it was not great. So 3 years later, when these detectives finally figure it all out, and they did catch the guy, he always took pictures of his victims, and there were the pictures of her. And they call this asshole detective and said, "Oh, hey, we have some evidence you might want." And he goes, "Oh no, she was lying. We even charged her, all that stuff." And she's like, "Here, let me email this to you," and so he opens the picture while he's on the phone. And so 3 years later, after she had been charged, she had to pay the city $500 for the cost of all of this, whatever. He shows up 3 years later to her, and he tries to apologize, and he tries to say, "I should have listened to you. Oh, and here's from the city's $500. Well, she goes and finds a lawyer, and she sues the city, and has a great ending out of that. But it's called Unbelievable for 2 reasons. One, because she was not believed, but also because the crimes that this man was doing was unbelievable. They were horrible.
Well, and I would add a third, right? The fact that it's unbelievable that we don't listen to people.
Right.
Women coming forward that they were assaulted, raped, whatever the case is. It's just unbelievable that we don't give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
We give all kinds of other people, a lot of men.
One of the best things in this, is she shows up to this attorney to sue the city, and he goes, "First off, I just want to say how sorry I am that this happened to you." He goes, "I don't understand it. We don't question when someone is saying they were burglarized. We don't question when someone says they were carjacked. We don't question other victims unless it's sexual assault." And he's like, "It doesn't make," and all of a sudden it was like, I had never even thought about that before. I'm sure a million people have.
Yes.
But I've never thought about the fact that I could walk in there and go, I was whatever. I could come up with the craziest story. And as long as it didn't have sexual assault in there, they would believe me.
Yes. That's where I was going with that.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. You got there.
Yeah, I know. I talk faster. So.
Sure.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an amazing story, number one, because these two female detectives in Colorado, the work that they do, and it really does it's not like CSI where it's like, oh, let's plug this in and, oh, look, we have a match and here's the people, it shows the real struggle it is and how if you only have 7 skin cells, what does that mean we can do? Because he was super smart. He made them shower while he was still there. Like he took the sheets with him and he took so these there was nothing left at these crime scenes for them to even work with. So it was, and one of the things is the guy talks to the cops after he's already been sentenced and everything. And he says that first one, which was Marie, he goes, that first one, I left behind hairs. I left behind this. I left behind that. I thought for sure they were going to show up any day after that and get me. Well, they didn't because the cops didn't believe her, so they never even processed anything. It's like, oh my God. Then all these other women that got raped and terrorized by this man, because he would be there for 4 or 5 hours. He would rape them 8 or 9 times within this time. And he was charged with rape every time he entered them. He got a separate rape charge, which is also wonderful. Anyway, the work that these detectives did, showing how difficult it is, like they have a thing of a truck passing by, and they're like, I don't know. They try to enhance it, can't see the license plate, which is so opposite of any of our movies and TV shows that we watch, where it's just like, oh, look, there's a license plate. Yeah. So it was really fascinating, again, for someone like me who loves true crime, to really see how they had to find pieces, let alone put those pieces together.
A more realistic portrayal. And
the difference in these male detectives that showed up and first question Marie, then we get to see Merritt Weaver show up to one of the victims and Toni Collette work with her victims, and to see the difference that a female will have when dealing with these victims as well, to me is so important. And so it's night and day. I mean, I was crying through the whole thing. It was amazing. So anyway, it's great. If you love true crime, it's great. If you don't, it's still a story, and the acting is amazing. You can't go wrong with these 3 women, and it's so worth it. And again, it's based on a thing from This American Life, which if you love that and love the way they tell stories, this is part of that, and it's really well done. I mean, I watched 8 hours. I finished the last 20 minutes this morning, so I watched it all yesterday. Couldn't stop. So it's really good. It's on Netflix, called Unbelievable. The only 2 quick things I wanted to talk about, if you want, or we can save them, was Ghost Hunters.
Save it.
Okay, and we got through the first season of Jane the Virgin. I didn't know if you wanted to touch on that. Okay,
yes.
So next week we'll be talking about those 2 things. Okay, that's it then. So we're going to move on to our Actors Corner and Emma Thompson.
Sounds good.
Should also be quick.
Yes.
Okay, movies you love.
Yeah, so here's the thing I noticed about Emma Thompson doing this. When you first suggested her, I thought, oh man, perfect, great. And then I went through her IMDb and I'm like, she's done a lot of stuff, but not a lot I've seen.
I told you. That's why I said I don't think she'll be good, because I haven't seen 50% of her stuff.
I know you told me that, but it's like, not only is there a lot of stuff I haven't seen, there's a ton of stuff I've never heard of.
Oh, well, that
and it's probably, across the pond that she did a lot of this stuff that's on her page, but still there's a lot of stuff I just never heard of.
Okay.
So, but there is a surprise twist that I just had to point out. So we'll get to it.
Okay. I think we should start guessing each other's, because I know what you're.
Oh, you know what? Let's do that. Let's live.
Is gonna be.
Let's. Well, it's probably more entertaining if you guess mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably one-sided. Okay, so go ahead and try to guess.
Movies you love.
So there's 2,
yep.
And there's one you're gonna get immediately, and there's one that might be a little tougher.
Saving Mr. Banks.
No.
What?
No.
Love Actually.
Love Actually.
Okay.
And the other one?
No, you threw me off. Junior?
No.
Oh.
Stranger Than Fiction.
Really?
That's the only Will Ferrell movie besides The House that I really, really like.
Okay, so let's go back to Love Actually, because that's also on my list for a movie I love.
Sure, absolutely.
Her performance in that is so devastating. I love it so much. It's true, though.
That sums you up perfectly.
Yes.
But
now, she came out last year or whatever, and she said how Kenneth Branagh had just cheated on her. And so that's all real.
Sure.
When she's in that room listening to that horrible song that just breaks my heart, it's just real.
Yeah.
And it's I love her whole role in that movie, being the prime minister's sister and dealing with the kids and, being the best friend for Liam Neeson. Like, I love everything about it because it's such a relatable thing for a woman that is so many different roles. And then on top of it, this happens to you. It's,
I think that was the first time I ever saw her cry. And she is an epic crier. I mean, she's like top notch.
Yeah.
Crier.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Stranger Than Fiction, I put under something I secretly love. I love that movie too. If it's on, I am watching it. It is so fantastic.
And it's very rarely on.
It's very rarely on. But I love it. And Queen Latifah and it's just it's fantastic. It's so creative and original and fantastic.
Yeah, and the thing I think it just occurred to me, I think I like Will Ferrell when he's innocent or surprised.
Sure.
That in this he spends the whole thing like,
what's happening?
What's going?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
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 Okay. So of course my other one that I love,
Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's my top movie of all time.
Sure, it's on my list, but not. It's further.
And you want
down.
to talk crying? I mean, I can come in with basically 2 sentences left, and as soon as she breaks down at the end, I lose it. I can't be around her crying without me crying. It is the worst, and it's like, but that movie is the best. It is definitely in my top 5 of all time. Always will be. Nothing can outdo it. They better never redo it. And she won an Oscar for the writing because she wrote it. She wrote the screenplay. So it's the best if you guys haven't seen it. Her, Kate Winslet, Hugh Grant, everyone. I mean, basically everyone in England, isn't it?
Well, yes.
Okay, movies you like.
Got 2 of them.
So this has got to be Saving Mr. Banks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And your other one is Junior.
No. Junior is not on my list.
What?
Yeah, Junior is not on my list.
Okay. I don't know.
It's a little bit obscure. It's actually Last Chance Harvey.
Oh, I never saw it.
I saw it once, and I liked it.
Okay.
And it's one of those that I thought, if that's on again, I'll watch it. And I don't think I've ever seen it on again. It's it doesn't get a lot of play, but yeah, I liked it. Her and Dustin Hoffman. It was good, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to Saving Mr. Banks because that's on mine too.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we watch that a few times a week.
Yeah.
At least pieces of it.
She plays a difficult person probably as good as anybody can. Yeah. Because I don't know what it is about her because she's a lovely woman and in real life,
she's fantastic. Yeah. But she does this really well.
Man, so she's got some acting chops because she pulls off.
But still to have enough where we don't hate her.
Right.
We will still cry with her at the end.
Well, the thing that bothers me about the movie is the whole side story flashing back to her childhood with her father.
You have to know that.
I understand that, but I think it's because we see that we cut her some slack and we don't just
for
hate
sure,
her.
for sure.
Right?
Yeah,
so
she never gives, except for with the driver. We do see her give him.
Yes, and those little moments with Paul Giamatti are my favorites.
That makes it too.
Those are my favorites
for sure.
Yes.
Anything else on movies you like?
No, just the 2 of them.
So I have Angels in America, which is the Tony Kushner play that they adapted for. This is the HBO one she was in. Mike Nichols directed it, and it's just a beautiful piece. It's beautiful. If you can see it on stage, it's amazing. And this HBO piece was amazing. And so I had to include it in here.
Yes, I've heard of it. I've just never seen it.
Yeah. It's almost too much to talk about.
Sure.
Movies you hate.
I Am Legend. And honestly, I don't even remember her.
I don't remember her in it.
I don't remember her in it, but I saw that on the list and I'm like, as long as we're doing these things, whoever is in that movie.
I don't know that there was anyone else in it.
It's going in every except the dog. It's,
right. We don't watch movies once they kill animals. Yeah. So that movie's dead to us.
I think that movie served a purpose to Hollywood because that movie, the ratings on that when it's on television have to be awful.
Why do you think
because most people won't watch it again because they killed a dog.
John Wick is one of the number 1 franchises ever.
Yeah.
All these dog movies that keep coming out, all those dogs die. Like, why do you think people don't watch those?
But the way they did this, it was just they didn't have to do it. They didn't have to do it.
They didn't. I agree, but I don't I don't think most people care about that.
Yes, they do.
So these are movies that I hate. I did not enjoy. One is The Children Act, which I talked on here a little bit ago when I saw it. Did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
And The Love Punch. It was so disappointing to me with Pierce Brosnan, and it was just disappointing. So those are my two.
Okay.
Secretly Love.
All right, so here we go. She was actually in an episode
of The Young Ones.
Of The Young Ones. Yep.
Yeah, but do you remember it?
Nope. But I'm going to go back and watch it.
Okay.
So The Young Ones was an MTV show back in the 80s.
Right, but this was in the 60s or something, wasn't it?
I don't think so. Oh, was it the wrong Young Ones?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't. So if it is, I'm going to be really disappointed. I'm still going to go back and watch The Young Ones. Anyway, that was an MTV show in the 80s for British college students, whatever, dirt poor trying to get by. And I think there was only one season.
Didn't you buy it?
I did. I don't know where it is.
It was 84.
Yeah. So
no, there was 82 to 84. So there
was
were
it 3 seasons?
There were 2 seasons.
2 seasons. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back and watch that one with her because I only remember a handful of them. And honestly, as I've learned lately, as I get older and looking back on other shows from the 80s, I remember these shows as being a lot better than they actually are. You go back and watch it now, and it's like, oh, what was I thinking? But I'm still gonna give it a shot.
I just remembered a show I didn't talk about.
What?
Okay, so anything else under Secret Love?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, so I have Junior. I think Junior was the first thing I ever actually saw her in. She had been in a bunch of things before that, like Howard's End and stuff that I just didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
I love Junior. It is a movie, again, I will always stop and watch it. She's a lot of the reason she's so funny in it. She's a klutz and everything goes wrong for her.
Is she the doctor?
They're all doctors, yeah. She's the mother of the baby.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's one of those movies that I just love for some reason, and she's hysterical. She cracks me up.
Mm-hmm.
And my other one is Stranger Than Fiction. So
okay.
we talked about that.
Okay.
Okay, Embarrassed You Haven't Seen?
So this has an asterisk because I've seen parts of it, but it's Sense and Sensibility.
We sat and watched the whole thing.
We did?
Yep.
Oh. Well, now I'm even more embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember seeing the whole thing.
Well, that's great because we can go watch it right now.
It's...
Okay. Any others?
No. Nope.
I didn't put anything. I mean, I am a little embarrassed. I haven't seen Howard's End, but I saw the miniseries they did last year, so I'm okay with that. There wasn't a lot that I didn't. But anyway, adding to your watch list?
So I think I'm going to have to watch this by myself, but the Meyerowitz stories.
She was in that?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, huh.
And maybe if I had known that sooner, I might have made more of an effort to watch it, because...
Adam Sandler wasn't enough of a pull?
No, because it looks like it's more serious than funny.
Okay.
So
mine is Last Christmas, which comes out at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote it as well. She got George Michael's approval.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's got our boy in it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's his name? Henry
Golding.
Thank you.
Goldman.
My just honorable mentions. Wit was an amazing play, and she actually wrote it to get it to TV. Oh my God. I don't know that I've cried so much as that, and she was amazing in it. All the Harry Potter movies, that obviously she's only in a couple of them, and she's got a smaller part, but can't not mention Harry Potter. Beautiful Creatures. I liked that movie. People did not. I enjoyed it. Brave. She's the mom. The mom becomes the bear, so she's not really in it a whole bunch. Beauty and the Beast. She's so good as Mrs. Potts, and I didn't think that anyone could take Angela Lansbury's place, but she's really good in it.
Good. Okay.
King Lear, which is a series on Amazon with Anthony Hopkins playing King Lear. I only made it through an episode and a half, but everyone was really good in it, and it was really interesting. I just didn't get back to it. And then this HBO show, Years and Years, that just came on.
Yeah,
she was on.
yeah, you talked about that.
Yeah, so those are my honorable mentions for her. Obviously, there's a lot that we both have not seen.
Yeah.
But she's amazing, and if you didn't know, she also wrote Bridget Jones's Baby.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote the Nanny McPhee movies.
Yes.
So, and there's a lot. I think she's got some books out there. Plus she did Broadway. She was in Edward Scissorhands. No. She was in
Nope. I'm sorry, I can't help.
The Demon Barber of Fleet
Sweeney
Street.
Todd.
Thank you. She was in that. She was great in that. So multi-talented woman for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's that.
So a little bit of trivia.
Okay.
In a previous life, back when we first met, I was supposed to produce the play Wit.
Really?
When we lived in Virginia. I traded with Rich Clare. He couldn't. He had a schedule. It was going to be tough for him, so we swapped shows. And I think I ended up producing the Shadowbox instead, or something like that. I don't remember the exact order, but I ended up producing a show that.
I don't remember us doing Wit at all, so that must have been the season before me.
Season before? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, that's how we met, in case you guys didn't know.
we met
at a community theater.
And I was producing, and she came in as an associate producer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the good old days.
I know.
Seems like it.
So
doesn't it
long
seem
ago.
like so long ago? Yeah.
Well, it is. Like, now people who had little kids running around are now in college, so it's crazy.
This is true. Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, we're old.
Good times. Yes, we are.
We did good shows, though.
Yeah, I think so.
We did.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that, everybody.
Yeah.
So we're back. I already have now 3 things we're going to talk about next week.
We're going to have to do one next week.
We will be back next weekend. Yeah. And we are seeing Downton Abbey on Friday. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
very excited for that.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss it.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Have a great week, you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Until then, I'll be watching my stories.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.